The mind is a powerful tool, but it can also be our biggest obstacle. Every day you face choices, challenges, and distractions that can pull you off course. So how do you take control of your mind and use it to your advantage? It all starts with understanding that your thoughts and habits shape your reality. If you can master your mind, you can master your life. In this video, we're going to break down exactly how you can do that. We're not talking about theory or complicated ideas here. This is about real, practical advice that you can apply right now. I'm going to show you how to shift your mindset, build habits that work for you, and stay focused on the things that matter. Whether you're dealing with stress, feeling stuck, or simply want to perform better, the tools I'll share with you are designed to help you take control. The truth is, the way you think directly influences your actions. If you want to create lasting change in your life, whether it's reaching your goals, improving your relationships, or just feeling better day to day, you need to start with your mind. But don't worry, it's not as hard as it sounds. It's about consistency, discipline, and a few simple adjustments that make all the difference. Stick around, and you'll learn how to stop letting your thoughts control you and start using them to create the life you want. Chapter 1. The key to your mind. Understanding its power. The mind is the most powerful tool you'll ever have. It's not just a part of you, it is everything you are, everything you do, every success and every failure starts with your mind. How you think, how you view the world, and how you respond to situations are all determined by the way you train your mind. So, if you want to control your life, the first thing you need to control is your mind. Think about this for a moment. What if you could control your thoughts? What if you could choose how you react to any situation, any emotion, any challenge? Imagine the freedom that would bring. Imagine how much power you would have. That's what happens when you learn how to master your mind. You stop being a slave to your circumstances, to your emotions, to your automatic reactions, and you become the creator of your reality. It might sound like a big claim, but I promise you, this is the key to personal growth and success. When you understand the power of your mind, everything changes. The first step to mastering your life is to understand that the mind isn't just something that happens to you. You don't just have thoughts, you control them. You have the power to choose your thoughts, your focus, and your responses. Once you truly grasp this, you unlock the door to endless possibilities. Now let's talk about how you can start understanding and controlling your mind. It starts with one simple truth. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant in it will grow. This idea isn't new. Philosophers, thinkers, and spiritual teachers throughout history have known it, and now it's time for you to understand it deeply. Every thought you have is like a seed being planted in your mind's garden. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, and negativity, that's what will grow. But if you plant seeds of confidence, hope, and positivity, that's what will grow instead. The garden of your mind is fertile ground, but it needs care. If you don't tend to it, weeds will start growing. Weeds of self-doubt, fear, and insecurity. And once those weeds take root, it becomes much harder to cultivate the garden you truly want. But here's the good news. You have the power to choose what you plant. You can choose what you focus on, what you let into your mind, and what you allow to grow. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that their thoughts are simply things that happen to them. But that's not true. Your thoughts are not random. They're a product of what you've been exposed to, what you've allowed into your mind, and most importantly, what you've chosen to believe. If you've been filling your mind with negative influences, if you've been surrounded by people who think small or live in fear, that's what your mind will reflect. But that's not the only option. If you want to change your life, you need to change your thinking. And to change your thinking, you need to be mindful of what you allow into your mind. You have to protect it like a precious garden. Every piece of media you consume, every conversation you engage in, and every thought you entertain plants a seed in your mind. If you want your mind to grow into a powerful, disciplined, and focused machine, you need to start being selective about what you let in. But it doesn't stop there. The power of your mind is more than just your thoughts. It's also your beliefs. Your beliefs shape your reality. If you believe that you're not good enough, that you'll never succeed, or that life is out to get you, guess what? You're right. But if you believe that you can improve, that you have the strength to overcome obstacles, and that the world is full of opportunities for you, you'll start seeing the evidence of that belief everywhere. It's not magic, it's science. Your brain works by reinforcing the beliefs you hold. The more you think something, the more you believe it. And the more you believe it, the more it becomes true. That's why it's so important to challenge your limiting beliefs and replace them with empowering ones. Your beliefs are like the filter through which you see the world. If your filter is cloudy with negativity and doubt, you'll only see obstacles and reasons why things won't work. But if your filter is clear, full of confidence and possibility, you'll start to see opportunities everywhere. Now, I want you to think about your daily routine. What do you spend most of your time thinking about? What do you focus on? Your mind will follow your focus. If you spend all day focusing on the things that stress you out, the things you can't control, and the problems in your life, that's what your mind will keep returning to. But if you start focusing on solutions, on what you can control, and on what you're grateful for, your mind will start to shift. One of the best ways to begin taking control of your mind is to be intentional about where you direct your focus. It's not enough to just avoid negative thoughts. You need to actively choose what you want to think about. What is the vision for your life? What are your goals? What kind of person do you want to become? Make that the focal point of your thoughts. Every time your mind starts to drift into negativity, redirect it. Remind yourself of your goals, of the bigger picture, and of what you're working toward. Your mind will try to take the easy route. It will tell you that focusing on your problems is easier than focusing on your goals. It will try to convince you that staying in your comfort zone is safer than stepping out and taking risks. But here's the truth. Nothing will ever change unless you make the decision to change your thinking first. If you want a different life, you have to think differently. I'm not saying this is easy. It's not. But it is simple. It's a process that starts with awareness. Once you become aware of the way your mind works, once you realize that you are not a victim to your thoughts, but the creator of them, you'll be amazed at how quickly you can start shifting your mindset. This awareness alone gives you the power to take control. The beauty of this process is that it doesn't require you to completely overhaul your life overnight. Small changes, day by day, are all it takes. Start with one thought, one belief, one habit. Every time you shift your thinking, you strengthen your ability to control your mind. Over time, these small shifts add up to massive transformation. So if you want to change your life, start with your mind. Understand that your mind is not some uncontrollable force working against you. It's the most powerful tool at your disposal. And once you realize that you have the ability to control it, you realize that you have the power to control everything else. The journey toward mastering your mind begins with a single step, the realization that you are in control. It's time to stop being a passenger in your life and take the wheel. Your mind is the key to everything you want. The only question is, what are you going to do with it? Chapter 2. Awareness. The path to mastery. Have you ever noticed how often we get caught up in the noise of life? The constant buzz of information, the distractions, the worries and the stresses that seem to come at us from all directions. It's like we're living in a storm of thoughts, emotions, and external forces that make it almost impossible to hear ourselves think. In the middle of all this chaos, it can feel overwhelming just trying to make sense of what's really going on inside of us. But there's a truth that once you grasp it, can help you find clarity in all the noise. Awareness is the key to mastery. When we talk about mastering your mind, it starts with awareness. Think about it like this. Before you can fix anything, you need to know it's broken. Before you can change anything, you need to see where you are and what's actually happening in your mind. Without awareness, you're like a ship sailing aimlessly in the dark, at the mercy of the tides. But with awareness, you gain the power to steer that ship in the direction you want it to go. Awareness is your compass. It helps you understand where you are and where you're headed. The challenge is that most of us are so used to living on autopilot. We react to things without thinking. We let our emotions take control. We follow the paths that others have laid out for us without even realizing we have other options. We go through the motions of life, day after day, without ever truly checking in with ourselves. But when you start becoming aware of your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions, you start to see things clearly. You begin to realize that most of your reactions are automatic, and that your true power lies in the ability to choose differently. Being aware doesn't mean just noticing the big things, the obvious stuff like when you're angry or when you're stressed. It's about paying attention to the little things too, the subtle thoughts that pop into your mind throughout the day, the way you feel when you walk into a room, the automatic judgments you make about people, situations, or even yourself. Awareness means shining a light on all of it, and that's where real change begins. Think about the last time you felt anxious. What was going through your mind? What were you focusing on? It's easy to get lost in the feelings, but if you take a moment to step back and simply observe, you'll start to notice patterns. You'll realize that your mind is always working, constantly trying to make sense of things, sometimes pulling you in 100 different directions. The goal isn't to stop thinking. That's impossible. The goal is to recognize that your thoughts are not you. They are just thoughts. They come and go, and you get to choose whether or not to entertain them. This is the foundation of awareness, understanding that your thoughts and emotions are not fixed parts of you. They're temporary. They're like clouds drifting through the sky. You are the sky, the space that allows those clouds to pass through without being swept away by them. This simple shift in perspective can change everything. You stop being at the mercy of your emotions, and instead you begin to observe them. When you become aware of your thoughts and feelings, you create space between who you are and what you're experiencing. That space gives you the power to choose your response, rather than just reacting. Now, I know that sounds easy in theory, but let's talk about how this plays out in the real world. It's one thing to say you need to be aware of your thoughts, but it's another thing to actually practice it, especially when life gets messy. So how do you develop this awareness? How do you begin to notice the thoughts that are running in the background of your mind? It starts with slowing down. We live in a fast-paced world where everything is moving at lightning speed. But in order to master your mind, you need to create moments of stillness. You need to practice getting quiet. It's in those moments of stillness that you can start to hear your thoughts clearly. One of the most effective ways to develop awareness is through mindfulness. Mindfulness is simply the practice of being present in the moment, fully aware of what's happening around you and inside you. It's about taking a step back and observing your thoughts, your feelings, and your body without judgment. This practice doesn't require you to change anything, it just requires you to notice. You can start by taking just a few minutes each day to sit quietly, focus on your breath, and check in with your thoughts. Notice what's coming up for you. Are you thinking about the past, the future? Are you feeling tense, relaxed, anxious? Just notice it. Don't try to change it, just observe. As you do this, you'll start to develop a deeper understanding of your thought patterns. You'll notice the automatic reactions you have to certain situations. You'll start to see the triggers that set off your emotions, and you'll become more aware of the beliefs that drive your behavior. This awareness is the first step toward changing those patterns. When you understand what's happening inside of you, you gain the power to respond with intention instead of reacting out of habit. The power of awareness goes beyond just understanding your thoughts and emotions. It's also about being aware of your actions. You can't change what you don't see, and sometimes our actions can become automatic too. You might find yourself stuck in old habits, doing things without even realizing why you're doing them. When you become aware of your actions, you start to break free from autopilot mode. You can begin to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Is this really helping me? Is this the best choice for the person I want to become? Awareness also means being honest with yourself. It's easy to lie to ourselves, to pretend things are fine when they're not, or to ignore the areas where we're struggling. But honesty is a crucial part of awareness. If you want to change, you have to be willing to look at the uncomfortable parts of yourself. You have to be willing to face your weaknesses and your fears, not with judgment, but with understanding. The more honest you are with yourself, the more clarity you gain, and the clearer you are, the easier it is to take control of your thoughts, emotions, and actions. The beauty of awareness is that it gives you the ability to make conscious choices. When you become aware of the thoughts, feelings, and actions that influence your life, you take back the power to choose. Instead of letting life happen to you, you begin to take charge. You start responding with intention, not impulse, and in doing so you create the space for real change to happen. So start small. Take a few minutes each day to check in with yourself. Ask yourself what's going on in your mind and in your heart. Notice the patterns. And when you see something you don't like, don't judge it, just notice it. Awareness is the first step to freedom. Once you see something for what it is, you can begin to change it. Awareness isn't just a one-time thing. It's a practice, something you have to do consistently, every day. But the more you practice, the easier it becomes. And eventually, it becomes second nature. You'll find yourself living with a new level of clarity, focus, and control. When you master awareness, you unlock the door to true self-mastery. And when you master yourself, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Chapter 3. The Inner Dialogue. How Self-Talk Shapes Your World. You're standing in front of a mirror, looking at yourself. You see a reflection, but not just in the physical sense. You see the thoughts, the doubts, the beliefs that live within you. It's as if you're seeing a version of yourself that you're not fully aware of, yet you're constantly shaped by it. That reflection is not just the body you carry, but the voice inside your head, the one that constantly talks to you, the one that speaks when you wake up, when you're facing challenges, when you make decisions, and even when you're just sitting quietly. It's your inner dialogue, and whether you know it or not, It's driving so much of what you do and how you feel. Have you ever stopped to really listen to that voice? If you haven't, try it sometime. Take a moment and just listen. What is it saying? Is it encouraging you? Is it telling you you're capable and strong? Or is it filled with doubt, criticism, and negativity? For most of us, that inner dialogue isn't always the kindest. It's easy to hear the voice that's quick to criticize or quick to point out what's wrong with us. And when that voice gets loud, it can feel almost impossible to break free from its grip. But here's the thing, your inner dialogue holds immense power. It's not just background noise in your mind, it shapes your reality. The way you speak to yourself, the things you believe about yourself, the thoughts you entertain all influence how you show up in the world. They determine how you approach life, how you handle setbacks, and how you interact with others. When your inner voice is negative, it holds you back. When it's supportive and positive, it pushes you forward. The truth is, your self-talk has been there your whole life, influencing your actions and reactions in ways you might not even be fully aware of. Think about the last time you made a mistake. What did you tell yourself afterward? Did you say, "I messed up, but I'll do better next time"? Or did you say, "I'm an idiot, I always mess things up"? The way you talk to yourself in those moments matters. It's easy to fall into the trap of negative self-talk because it's what we've been conditioned to do. We've all heard it. You're not good enough. You'll never succeed. This is too hard. It's almost like we have a constant stream of criticism running in the background. But here's the thing, you don't have to keep listening to that voice. You don't have to let it dictate your worth, your potential, or your future. The good news is, you can change it. You can rewrite the script. The first step is realizing that you have control over your thoughts. You don't have to be a prisoner to them. The thoughts you entertain, the beliefs you hold, and the way you speak to yourself all come down to one thing: choice. You choose what to focus on, and you choose how to respond to your inner dialogue. When you start to pay attention to the words you use with yourself, you'll begin to notice patterns. Are you constantly putting yourself down? Are you quick to judge yourself? Do you let every mistake define you? Those patterns don't have to be permanent. Just as you have the ability to think negatively, you also have the ability to think positively, to encourage yourself, and to believe in your potential. It's about shifting the focus from what you can't do to what you can do. Now, let's talk about how to do that. The first step is awareness. Start listening to your inner dialogue. Notice the thoughts that pop up in different situations. Do they support you or hold you back? You might notice that when things get tough, that voice becomes louder, more critical. Or when you try something new, you might hear the doubts creeping in. That's normal. But just because that voice is there doesn't mean it has to control you. Once you've started to listen, you can begin to challenge those thoughts. When you hear that voice telling you you're not good enough, ask yourself, is that true? Is there any evidence to support that thought? Or is it just an old belief that's been hanging around for too long? Often these negative thoughts are based on fears and insecurities that aren't grounded in reality. The more you question them, the less power they have over you. Another powerful tool to change your inner dialogue is to replace negative thoughts with positive affirmations. I know it might sound cliché, but it works. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," say, "I am capable of learning and growing." Instead of "I always mess things up," say, "I am constantly improving." It's not about pretending that everything is perfect, but rather about shifting your mindset from one of defeat to one of possibility. It's also helpful to remember that your inner dialogue doesn't have to be perfect. No one talks to themselves like a motivational speaker every minute of every day. But the more you practice positive self-talk, the more natural it becomes. Over time, you'll notice that those negative thoughts pop up less often, and when they do, they don't hold as much weight. Your self-talk isn't just about the big moments in life. It's about how you show up in the everyday, ordinary moments. It's about what you tell yourself when you wake up in the morning, when you face challenges, when you make decisions, or when you look in the mirror. The way you speak to yourself can either build you up or tear you down. So why not choose words that empower you? And here's another thing to remember. Just as your inner dialogue shapes your reality, it also influences the way others see you. When you speak positively to yourself, you carry yourself differently. You walk with more confidence. You show up in the world with a belief in your worth and your abilities. People notice that. They pick up on your energy, your attitude, and your self-assurance. And the more you believe in yourself, the more others will believe in you too. The bottom line is this: your inner dialogue has the power to either create or destroy your potential. It's not about ignoring the negative thoughts or pretending they don't exist. It's about learning to challenge them, replace them, and ultimately shift the way you talk to yourself. You can rewrite the script. You can choose to speak to yourself with kindness, encouragement, and belief. And when you do, you'll begin to see the world around you change, because when you change how you see yourself, everything else shifts too. Chapter 4: Emotional Mastery. Turning your emotions into allies. You look at yourself, and you're trying to see not just your physical form, but the emotional landscape within you. It's easy to ignore our emotions, to dismiss them as something that simply happens. But what if you took a moment to pause and reflect on them? What if you acknowledged how much your emotions influence the way you move through life? Emotional mastery isn't about suppressing your feelings or pretending they don't exist. It's about learning to harness the power of your emotions, turning them into allies instead of letting them control you. Emotions are a natural part of being human. They're powerful, and they come with all sorts of intensity. When we feel joy, we are lifted, and when we feel anger, we can feel like we're being dragged down by it. Sometimes, emotions come on suddenly, like a wave crashing over us, leaving us no time to think or respond. Other times, they simmer quietly under the surface, influencing our thoughts and behaviors without us even realizing it. But here's the thing: your emotions don't have to be your enemy. In fact, when you learn to control them, they can become a powerful tool in your journey of personal growth. The first step toward emotional mastery is recognizing that emotions aren't inherently good or bad. It's how we react to them that determines their impact. Anger, for example, often gets a bad rap, but it's an emotion that can be incredibly useful when channeled properly. Anger can signal when something is wrong or when you feel disrespected. The problem isn't the anger itself, but how you express it. If you lash out, if you let that anger take over your thoughts and actions, it can hurt you and others. But if you pause, take a deep breath, and then decide how you want to respond, that anger can be transformed into a force for change. It can fuel action, motivate you to set boundaries, or push you to take a stand for something you believe in. This same principle applies to all emotions. Fear, sadness, frustration, they're all part of the human experience, and each one carries valuable information. Fear, for example, is often seen as something to avoid, But what if fear is simply a signal that you're about to do something challenging or outside your comfort zone? In that moment, you can choose to let fear paralyze you, or you can choose to use it as a sign that growth is on the other side. You see, emotional mastery is about shifting from being a passive victim of your emotions to being an active participant in how you respond to them. One way to start practicing emotional mastery is by becoming more aware of how you react in different situations. Pay attention to your emotional responses. When something goes wrong, do you immediately jump to frustration? When someone disagrees with you, do you feel defensive? Are there certain triggers that send you into a tailspin of negative emotions? This self-awareness is crucial because it helps you understand not just what emotions you're experiencing, but why you're experiencing them. Often, our emotions are tied to deeper beliefs or past experiences. Maybe you feel anxious because you're worried about failing, or maybe you get angry because you feel unappreciated. Understanding the root cause of your emotions gives you the power to address them more effectively. Once you've identified your emotional triggers, the next step is to create space between your feelings and your actions. This can be incredibly challenging, especially when emotions are running high. But the key to emotional mastery is in that space, the space between the emotion and your response. When you're feeling intense emotions, take a moment to pause, step back from the situation, breathe, give yourself permission to feel, but also remind yourself that you have control over how you respond. It's in these moments of pause that your power lies. In those few seconds, you have the choice to react in a way that aligns with your values, your goals, and the person you want to become. This pause isn't about suppressing your emotions, it's about choosing how to express them. For example, when you're angry, instead of snapping or shouting, you might take a few deep breaths, ground yourself, and then express how you feel in a calm and constructive way. Instead of allowing your frustration to control your behavior, you take control and channel that energy into something productive, like problem solving or setting a boundary. Another critical aspect of emotional mastery is learning to respond instead of reacting. Reactions are automatic and often driven by our subconscious, based on past experiences and conditioned responses. Responses, on the other hand, are intentional and mindful. When you respond to your emotions, you're making a conscious choice about how to handle them. This is a skill that can be developed over time. It takes practice and patience, but it's incredibly empowering to realize that you don't have to be at the mercy of your emotions. Part of mastering your emotions also involves understanding that you're not defined by them. Your emotions are fleeting. They come and go. One moment you might feel elated, the next you could feel sad or frustrated. But none of these emotions define who you are. You are not your emotions, and your emotions do not have to dictate your actions. By recognizing that emotions are temporary, and by learning to navigate them, you create the freedom to choose your behavior, regardless of what you're feeling in the moment. It's also helpful to practice emotional release. Holding on to negative emotions like anger, sadness, or resentment can create internal tension and stress. When you're able to let go of these emotions, you free yourself from their grip. Releasing emotions doesn't mean ignoring them or pretending they don't matter. It means acknowledging them, feeling them, and then letting them go. Whether it's through journaling, talking it out with someone you trust, or simply taking a walk to clear your mind. Emotional release helps you process and move forward. Emotional mastery also involves cultivating emotional intelligence. This is the ability to recognize, understand and manage your emotions and the emotions of others. People with high emotional intelligence are able to empathize with others, communicate effectively, and navigate difficult situations with grace. They don't let their emotions dictate their interactions. Instead, they use their emotions to build connections and create positive outcomes. Emotional intelligence is a skill that can be developed through self-awareness, self-regulation, and empathy. As you work on mastering your emotions, it's important to remember that this is an ongoing process. You won't suddenly become perfect at it overnight. But every step you take to become more aware of your emotions, to respond instead of react, and to release negativity will bring you closer to emotional freedom. And as you gain control over your emotions, you'll find that you have greater clarity, resilience, and strength to face life's challenges. So the next time you're feeling overwhelmed or flooded with emotion, remember this: you don't have to be controlled by your feelings. You have the power to master them, to use them as tools for growth, and to navigate your life with greater ease and confidence. Emotional mastery is about reclaiming your power, taking responsibility for how you feel, and learning how to use those feelings to propel you forward. When you do this, you'll unlock a level of self-mastery that will transform not only your emotional life, but every aspect of your journey. Chapter 5. Focus. The power of concentration in a distracted world. We live in a world full of distractions. Every day we're bombarded with notifications, endless messages, and a constant stream of information that pulls our attention in a million different directions. Whether it's checking your phone every few minutes, switching between tasks, or trying to focus on something important while your mind drifts to everything else, maintaining focus seems like an impossible task. Yet the ability to focus is one of the most important skills you can develop if you want to achieve success and personal growth. It's the key to everything: productivity, creativity, relationships, and most importantly, the progress you make in life. Focus is not just about ignoring distractions. It's about tuning out the noise around you and zeroing in on what really matters. It's about channeling your energy into one task at a time, giving it your full attention, and fully immersing yourself in the process. When you can truly focus, you not only perform better, but you also feel more in control, more capable, and more aligned with your goals. But in a world that's constantly pulling your attention away, how do you actually develop this level of focus? How do you train your mind to be more disciplined in a time when distractions are everywhere? The truth is, focus is a muscle. The more you work on it, the stronger it becomes. It's about creating habits, developing a mindset, and putting strategies in place that help you stay present and on task. And just like any muscle, it takes time and practice. But once you start building that muscle, it becomes second nature. One of the first things to understand is that focus isn't something that magically happens when you need it. It's something that you actively create. When you wake up in the morning and dive straight into your day, you're essentially setting the tone for how focused you're going to be. If you start your day distracted, checking your phone, responding to messages, or jumping between tasks, you've already let your attention scatter before you've even begun. It's like trying to run a race with your shoelaces untied. You can go fast, but you won't go far, and it'll be hard to maintain any real momentum. Instead, it's important to create a routine that supports your focus right from the beginning. Start your day with intention, and give yourself a moment of clarity before you dive into the noise. Whether it's taking a few minutes to meditate, practicing some deep breathing, or simply writing down your goals for the day, these moments of mindfulness set the stage for better focus. They clear the mental clutter and allow you to direct your attention where it matters. This isn't just about starting the day off right either. Creating intentional pauses throughout the day can help you regain your focus and keep your energy from draining. Another key component to mastering focus is eliminating distractions as much as possible. This is easier said than done, but it's necessary. Your phone, email, social media, even the environment you work in, these things are all potential distractions that can pull you away from the task at hand. The more you expose yourself to these distractions, the more you train your brain to shift its attention every few minutes. But here's the truth: in order to truly focus, you need to be able to control your environment. Start by turning off notifications on your phone. If possible, silence everything that doesn't require your immediate attention. Let the people around you know that you need time to focus, and set boundaries that protect that time. Sometimes, distractions are internal. Your mind races with thoughts about what's next, or worries about things you can't control. This kind of mental clutter can be just as disruptive as any external distraction. The trick here is to acknowledge those thoughts without letting them take over. When you find your mind wandering, gently bring it back to the task at hand. Don't beat yourself up for getting distracted. This happens to everyone. Instead, practice redirecting your attention. With time, you'll get better at catching your thoughts before they pull you away for good. Focus also requires you to take care of your body and mind. You can't expect to be mentally sharp and present if your physical health is neglected. When you're tired, hungry, or physically drained, your ability to focus diminishes significantly. So take care of yourself. Get enough sleep, eat well, stay hydrated, and make time for physical activity. Exercise, even just a brisk walk, has been proven to enhance mental clarity and improve your focus. When your body is taken care of, your mind will follow. Equally important is the idea of working in intervals. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that if we work non-stop for hours, we're being productive. But the truth is, our minds can only stay locked in for so long. The longer you push yourself without breaks, the harder it becomes to maintain focus. That's why the Pomodoro technique, where you work for 25 minutes followed by a 5-minute break, can be so effective. This gives your brain the chance to recharge before diving back into another session. You'll find that, with these intervals, your focus becomes sharper and your productivity skyrockets. Another piece of the puzzle is learning to prioritize. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the sheer number of things you need to do, but not all tasks are created equal. Focus your attention on what matters most and learn to let go of the rest. Ask yourself, what's the one thing I can do today that will have the biggest impact on my goals? By focusing on the most important task, you can give it the full attention it deserves. And when you check it off, you'll feel that sense of accomplishment that propels you forward. It's also essential to build the habit of practicing focus regularly. Start small and gradually build your ability to stay concentrated. If you're working on a big project, break it down into smaller tasks and focus on completing one at a time. Commit to being present during those small moments, whether it's reading a book, having a conversation, or working on a project. Don't allow your mind to wander to other things. Just focus on the task at hand and be patient with yourself as you train this skill. At the end of the day, focus isn't about forcing yourself to work harder. It's about working smarter, staying disciplined, and creating an environment that supports the deepest level of concentration. The more intentional you are with your focus, the more control you'll have over your time and your energy. And the more you practice, the better you'll become at managing distractions and staying locked in on your goals. When you can focus, you'll unlock the power to move mountains, achieve anything you set your mind to, and make every day count. Your ability to focus is what will carry you through when things get tough, when distractions seem endless, when your energy is drained, and when the temptation to give up is strong. It's focus that will keep you grounded. It's focus that will help you keep going, even when the road ahead seems unclear. The more you master your focus, the more you'll realize that you have the power to control your mind. And when you control your mind, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Chapter 6. Discipline, building the structure for your success. Discipline is often misunderstood. People think of it as a strict set of rules or a rigid system designed to control their every move. They picture someone constantly forcing themselves to do things they don't want to do, pushing through every moment of discomfort, and adhering to a set of rules that leaves no room for flexibility. The truth is, discipline isn't about being hard on yourself. It's about creating a structure that sets you up for success. It's about building a foundation of habits and routines that push you toward your goals, not through sheer force, but by providing a steady framework that keeps you on track. When most people think about discipline, they focus on the external actions, what you do, when you do it, and how you do it. But real discipline starts on the inside. It begins with a mindset shift, a change in how you see yourself and your potential. It's not about forcing yourself to work harder. It's about making decisions that align with your long-term goals, even when you don't feel like it. And this is the key. You can't wait for motivation to show up. Discipline is what gets you moving when motivation fades. It's the engine that powers your progress, even when the excitement is gone. So, how do you build that kind of discipline in your life? It starts with understanding the power of habits. We all have habits, good ones and bad ones. Some habits serve us, while others hold us back. The key is to focus on the habits that lead to long-term success. Habits are the small actions you take each day that compound over time, turning into the outcomes you want. Whether you realize it or not, you're building habits all the time, even if you're not being intentional about it. If you want to build discipline, you have to build habits that support your vision of success. The first step in doing that is understanding that every action you take is either moving you closer to or further from your goals. Think about the small choices you make every day. The decision to wake up early, the choice to exercise, the commitment to eat healthy, or the determination to work on your craft. Each of these actions may seem insignificant on its own, but over time they add up. On the other hand, the decision to hit snooze, eat junk food, or procrastinate is just as powerful in the opposite direction. It's not about the occasional big choice, but the small, everyday choices that shape your destiny. One of the best ways to start building discipline is to make those small choices easier. If you want to wake up early, start by setting your alarm across the room, so you have to physically get out of bed to turn it off. If you want to eat healthier, make sure the unhealthy food isn't readily available, and have healthy options prepared. The easier you make it for yourself to stick to your goals, the more likely you are to do it. But it's not enough to just create an environment that supports your goals. You also need to hold yourself accountable. Accountability is a key part of discipline. When you hold yourself accountable for your actions, you create a sense of responsibility. You become someone who keeps promises, even when it's difficult. You set standards for yourself and stick to them. This doesn't mean beating yourself up when you slip up, but it does mean getting back on track without delay. Real discipline means taking ownership of your actions and decisions. It's about creating a standard for yourself and maintaining it, regardless of how you feel in the moment. But let's be real, there are going to be days when you don't feel like doing the things you know you should. You'll feel tired, distracted, or just plain unmotivated. This is where your mental toughness comes into play. You need to learn to push through those moments of resistance, and that doesn't mean ignoring how you feel. It means recognizing that your feelings are not always in line with your best interests. Just because you don't feel like working doesn't mean you shouldn't work. Discipline means showing up even when you don't want to. One of the most effective ways to build discipline is to create routines that you can stick to. Routines are the backbone of discipline because they automate your decision-making. You don't have to think about whether you're going to work out, or whether you're going to read, or whether you're going to work on your business. You just do it because it's part of your routine. The more you can automate the important things in your life, the less energy you waste on decisions and the more consistent you become. The best part: routines provide structure, but they also give you freedom. When you know what you're going to do and when you're going to do it, you can relax and focus on the things that really matter. However, it's important to understand that routines aren't about perfection. They're about consistency. Life will throw curveballs your way, and you'll miss a workout or skip a task. That's okay. What matters is getting back on track and not letting one mistake snowball into a pattern of failure. Discipline doesn't mean you'll never slip up. It means you keep moving forward, no matter what. The key to discipline is also understanding your why. Why do you want to develop discipline in the first place? Is it to get in shape? To build a business? To improve your relationships? Whatever your reason is, hold on to it tightly. It's easy to lose sight of why you're doing something when you're in the grind. But when you remind yourself of the bigger picture, it gives you the strength to keep going. It's that internal drive that will keep you disciplined even when you'd rather quit. But discipline isn't just about doing things you don't want to do. It's also about doing the things that bring you joy and fulfillment. A disciplined life doesn't mean being miserable. It means structuring your life in a way that makes you feel accomplished and aligned with your values. It's about doing the hard things now so that you can enjoy the rewards later. And sometimes the rewards are immediate: the satisfaction of checking off a task, the pride of sticking to your workout routine, the joy of seeing your business grow. Discipline is also about learning to say no. In a world where distractions are everywhere, saying no to things that don't serve your goals is a superpower. You have to protect your time and energy. Saying yes to everything and everyone spreads you thin and leaves you with nothing to give to the things that really matter. It's hard to say no, especially when you want to help others or be seen as agreeable, but your time is your most precious resource. You have to guard it fiercely. As you start to build discipline in your life, remember that it's a journey. You won't wake up one day with perfect discipline. It's something you develop over time, and it takes work. But the more you practice it, the easier it gets. And the more you build that discipline, the more you'll realize that it's not about doing things you don't want to do. It's about building a life that aligns with your deepest values and goals, and that's a life worth building. Chapter 7. Resilience. Rising strong after every setback. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back when life knocks you down. It's about the mental strength to keep going when you don't feel like it. To rise again even when you've been brought to your knees, and to do so with the confidence that no matter how many setbacks you face, you are still moving forward. Life will challenge you. It will test your limits. There will be times when you feel like you can't handle another thing, when it seems like the weight of the world is too much to bear. But resilience is built in those very moments when everything seems impossible. You see, life is unpredictable. You can have everything planned, everything lined up perfectly, and in an instant it can all fall apart. That's the nature of life. It doesn't follow a script. It doesn't give you a manual to get through the tough times. But what life does offer, what it hands you, is the opportunity to decide how you're going to respond when things get difficult. Will you give up? Will you let the setbacks define you? Or will you find a way to rise, no matter how hard it gets? The beauty of resilience is that it's not an innate trait. It's a skill. It's something that you can develop over time, through practice, through the way you respond to adversity. Resilience isn't about avoiding pain, fear, or failure. It's about learning how to handle them. It's about understanding that setbacks are not signs of weakness, but opportunities for growth. The stronger you get in your mind, the more prepared you are to handle whatever life throws at you. Building resilience begins with a shift in mindset. It's about changing the way you think about challenges. Instead of seeing a setback as a roadblock, view it as a stepping stone. Instead of letting failure make you feel defeated, see it as a lesson. The key to resilience is not being afraid to fail, not allowing fear to control your actions. You will fail, you will make mistakes, but it's how you rise from them that matters. The first step in becoming more resilient is accepting that pain, difficulty, and failure are part of the process. There is no success without struggle. Every person who has achieved anything worth achieving has gone through their own personal battles. And these battles, while painful at the time, are what shape you. They teach you more about yourself than any success ever could. They teach you what you're truly made of. And it's through these experiences that you learn how to handle life's inevitable ups and downs. When you face a difficult situation, the first thing you should do is give yourself permission to feel. Acknowledge the pain, the frustration, the disappointment. Don't try to numb your emotions or push them away. It's okay to feel hurt, but the next step is where resilience comes in. You have to choose to not stay in that emotional place. It's easy to wallow in self-pity, to let the pain control you, but the key is to feel what you're feeling, and then choose to move forward. You can't let your emotions dictate your actions. Sometimes you won't feel like doing anything. Sometimes you won't feel like getting out of bed, showing up, or even trying. But resilience is about making the decision to do it anyway. Even if you're not feeling your best, even if you're not at your strongest, it's about making the choice to keep going. You don't need to feel motivated to be resilient. You just need to keep going. Resilience isn't about feeling good all the time. It's about pushing through the discomfort, the doubt, and the uncertainty. The power of resilience also lies in your ability to adapt. Life changes constantly, and the key to surviving and thriving in it is your ability to change with it. You may have a plan, but the plan might not go as expected. That's okay. What matters is how you adjust. Resilience is about staying flexible, about learning to adapt to whatever life throws at you. It's about knowing that while you can't control everything, you can control how you respond to what's happening. Take a step back when you're facing a difficult moment and evaluate your options. You might not be able to change the situation, but you can always control your perspective. You can choose to focus on what's within your control and let go of what's beyond your reach. This is where true power lies. It's not about controlling every aspect of your life, but about controlling how you react to it. Resilience is about maintaining that mental clarity, even when everything feels like chaos. One of the greatest strengths of resilient people is their ability to stay focused on the long-term picture. When you're in the middle of a crisis, it's easy to get caught up in the details and lose sight of the bigger vision, but resilient people know how to zoom out and see beyond the immediate storm. They remind themselves that the difficulties they're facing are temporary and that their long-term goals are still within reach. They don't allow short-term struggles to derail their long-term success. Resilience also thrives in a supportive environment. While it's true that you are ultimately responsible for your own resilience, the people around you can either build you up or tear you down. It's important to surround yourself with people who uplift you, who believe in you, and who encourage you to keep going when you want to quit. We are social beings, and we need that support system, especially during tough times. But it's also crucial to learn how to stand on your own 2 feet. You can't always rely on others to pull you out of a tough spot. Resilience is about finding strength within yourself and relying on your own abilities when necessary. Another key to building resilience is self-compassion. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail. You're going to face challenges. And through all of this, it's important to be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up when things don't go as planned. Don't let your mistakes define you. Instead, see them as opportunities to learn and grow. Be patient with yourself. Building resilience takes time, and you're not going to do it perfectly. But as long as you keep showing up, as long as you keep trying, you're already building resilience. Resilience isn't a trait you're born with. It's a muscle you develop through experience, through action, and through your ability to handle adversity. Every time you face a setback and choose to rise again, you strengthen that muscle. And the more you develop your resilience, the more you'll realize that nothing can stop you. Life will continue to throw challenges your way, but each one will make you stronger, more capable, and more confident in your ability to handle whatever comes next. So embrace the hard times. Embrace the setbacks, because they're not just obstacles, they're your opportunities to become the person you were always meant to be. Chapter 8. Overcoming Fear. Transforming anxiety into action. Fear is something we all experience at different points in our lives. It's not some external force we can avoid. It's a natural part of the human experience. The thing is, fear can either paralyze us or propel us forward. It all comes down to how we handle it. Fear has the power to stop us from pursuing our dreams, from taking risks, and from becoming the people we are meant to be. But here's the truth. Fear isn't something we need to be afraid of. Fear can actually be one of our greatest allies if we learn how to control it and transform it into something positive. I'm not talking about the kind of fear that warns us of real danger, like stepping into traffic or standing too close to a cliff's edge. That kind of fear keeps us alive. What I'm talking about is the fear that holds us back, the fear of failure, of judgment, of making mistakes, or of stepping into the unknown. This type of fear is entirely self-imposed. It's based on stories we tell ourselves about what could go wrong, and it's often rooted in our past experiences or the opinions of others. This kind of fear is the barrier between us and our potential, but the good news is, it's entirely within our power to overcome it. When we feel fear, the natural instinct is often to run away from it. We avoid situations that make us uncomfortable or uncertain. We shrink back, thinking that by avoiding fear, we're protecting ourselves. But in reality, we're just limiting ourselves. The truth is, every time we run from fear, we are reinforcing the idea that fear has power over us. We're allowing it to control us, and that's a dangerous place to be. Fear thrives when we try to avoid it, and it only grows stronger when we let it control our actions. The key to overcoming fear is not to run from it, but to face it head on. When you start to feel fear rising up inside you, don't push it down or try to ignore it. Acknowledge it. Name it. Take a moment to say to yourself, "Okay, I'm scared right now." There's no shame in that. Everyone feels fear. It's part of being human. But instead of letting that fear paralyze you, take a deep breath and choose to move forward anyway. This is where the power lies, when you acknowledge the fear and then take action in spite of it. What happens when you do this is remarkable. Fear begins to lose its grip on you. The more you take action despite fear, the more you prove to yourself that you are in control, not the fear. Every small step forward, no matter how small, weakens the power fear holds over you. You start to see that the fear is just a feeling, it's not a fact. And feelings don't have to control your actions unless you allow them to. In fact, fear can even become a motivator. It's not about getting rid of fear completely, it's about shifting your perspective on it. When fear arises, instead of seeing it as something to avoid, see it as a signal that you are on the verge of growth. Fear shows up when we are about to step outside our comfort zones, and stepping outside our comfort zones is where the magic happens. It's where progress is made. It's where we discover who we really are and what we're capable of. Fear means you are pushing boundaries, and that's exactly where you want to be. When you're facing fear, one of the most powerful things you can do is break down the situation into smaller, more manageable steps. Often we fear things because they seem too big, too overwhelming, or too unknown. But when you break them down into smaller actions, fear loses its power. You don't have to do everything at once. You don't have to figure everything out in one go. Just focus on taking the next small step. Each step brings you closer to your goal, and with each step you grow stronger and more confident. One of the most profound lessons I've learned in life is that fear is a product of our imagination. Our minds are incredible storytellers, and often the scenarios we imagine in our heads are far worse than what actually happens. When we take the time to examine our fears, we usually realize that the things we're afraid of are either unlikely to happen or not as bad as we think they are. By facing our fears and putting them into perspective, we can see them for what they truly are, illusions. This doesn't mean that fear is always irrational. Some fears are rooted in real concerns, and that's okay. But even in those cases, fear doesn't have to hold us back. It's about assessing the situation objectively, taking steps to minimize the risks, and then moving forward with a clear mind. Fear is only as powerful as we allow it to be, and the more we face it with courage, the less control it has over us. When you begin to take control of your fear, you start to unlock a new level of freedom. You become less reactive to life's challenges. Instead of allowing fear to dictate your actions, you can choose to act despite the fear. You begin to live life on your terms, not based on what your fears are telling you. This is true freedom. The ability to take action, no matter how uncertain or uncomfortable it may feel, and trust that you can handle whatever comes next. Fear, in many ways, is a reminder that you are alive. It's a sign that you are pushing yourself, that you are in the process of becoming more than you were before. So instead of letting fear stop you, let it fuel you. Every time you push through fear, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever thought possible. Every time you face fear head-on, you step closer to becoming the person you are meant to be. And as you keep going, that fear you once feared will lose its power over you, leaving you stronger, braver, and more confident in yourself and your ability to handle whatever comes your way. So, the next time fear creeps in, don't run, Don't hide. Stand tall, acknowledge it, and take action. Fear is just a feeling. You don't have to let it control you. And once you take that first step, you'll realize that the fear wasn't nearly as strong as you thought it was. Keep going. Keep moving forward. Because the only way through fear is to go through it. Chapter 9. Decision Making. The Power of Choosing Wisely. Every day we're faced with decisions. Some are small, like choosing what to eat for lunch, while others are life-altering, like deciding on a career path, or choosing to leave a relationship that isn't serving us. The power of decision-making is something we often overlook, but it's one of the most powerful forces we have in shaping our lives. We often think of decisions as being external, but every choice we make reflects who we are inside and where we want to go. It's not just about what's happening around us, it's about how we respond to what's in front of us. And the beauty of it is we have the ability to choose at any moment. When we wake up each morning, we have the opportunity to decide what kind of day we'll have. Will we face the challenges ahead with confidence, or will we let fear and hesitation control our actions? Every decision, no matter how small, leads us in a particular direction. And these little decisions, over time, add up to shape the path of our lives. Think about it. Where you are right now, in this moment, is a result of the choices you've made up to this point. The power of decision-making is that it allows you to create your future, one choice at a time. But here's the thing, so many people are indecisive. They hesitate, second-guess themselves, and often fail to take action because they're afraid of making the wrong choice. But here's the truth, you can't avoid making decisions. Not making a decision is still making a decision. And the longer you wait, the more you allow life to dictate your path, instead of choosing it for yourself. It's easy to get stuck in a cycle of overthinking, wondering if you're making the right choice, but the longer you stay in that space of uncertainty, the more paralyzed you become. The key to breaking out of that cycle is understanding that no decision is perfect. The best decision is the one you make now, and the one you commit to, not the one you keep questioning or procrastinating over. It's natural to be afraid of making the wrong choice, but in reality, there is no such thing as a perfect decision. Every choice we make comes with risks and uncertainties, but that's where growth happens. It's easy to think that if we make the wrong choice, we'll somehow ruin everything. But the truth is, there are very few decisions in life that are irreversible. Even if you make a mistake, it's never the end of the world. In fact, mistakes are a necessary part of life. They're how we learn, grow, and build resilience. The important thing is that we make a decision, learn from it, and keep moving forward. The most successful people in life are the ones who make decisions quickly and adjust if needed. They don't get bogged down by analysis paralysis. They don't waste time trying to perfect their choices. They make a decision, trust in themselves, and commit to making it work. There's power in that kind of decisiveness. It eliminates doubt and opens up space for action. When you make a decision, you create momentum. You start to move forward, and even if you encounter setbacks or obstacles, you're already in motion, making adjustments as you go. The key is to keep moving forward, even when the path isn't perfectly clear. One of the most important aspects of decision-making is learning to trust yourself. We've all been there, questioning whether we're making the right choice. But the truth is, we know ourselves better than anyone else. Deep down, you know what feels right for you, and you have to trust that inner knowing. Often, we second-guess ourselves because we're afraid of what others might think, or we fear the consequences of our actions. But when we rely on external opinions or focus too much on potential outcomes, we lose touch with our own inner guidance. The ability to make decisions with confidence comes from learning to trust your intuition and believing that you have the ability to handle whatever comes your way. One way to strengthen that trust in yourself is to start by making smaller decisions. Don't wait for a huge life-changing moment to test your decision-making skills. Start with the little choices. What do you want to eat for dinner? What task do you want to tackle first today? What's something you can do for yourself that will move you in the direction of your goals? By practicing decision-making in these small moments, you'll begin to build confidence in your ability to choose, and over time, making bigger decisions will feel less daunting. Another thing to remember is that decisions don't have to be perfect. In fact, they rarely are. Life is unpredictable, and no matter how much we try to plan, things will change. The key is to make decisions based on the information you have right now, and then adjust if needed. Perfection isn't the goal, progress is. And sometimes, progress means making decisions, moving forward, and learning as you go. Life isn't about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about creating the moments and opportunities by making choices. Something that can also help in the decision-making process is to have a clear sense of your values and your goals. When you know what truly matters to you and what you want to achieve in life, decisions become clearer. You can ask yourself, does this decision align with my values and my long-term goals? If it does, move forward. If it doesn't, don't be afraid to walk away. Having that sense of clarity helps you make choices that are in line with who you truly are, rather than just reacting to external circumstances or seeking approval from others. A powerful exercise to practice is visualizing the outcomes of different choices. Imagine the best-case scenario, the worst-case scenario, and everything in between. What would your life look like if you made this decision? What might it look like if you made a different choice? This exercise can help you get out of your head and into your body, allowing you to feel what each decision would mean for you on a deeper level. Sometimes, making a decision becomes easier when you stop thinking about it so much and start feeling your way through it. And lastly, remember that every decision is a chance to learn and grow. There are no wrong choices, only opportunities to learn. Every experience teaches us something valuable about ourselves, about the world, and about what we want out of life. The key is to stay open to learning and adjusting as you go. So the next time you find yourself faced with a decision, take a deep breath, trust yourself, and commit to moving forward. Don't let fear of making the wrong choice hold you back. The power is in your hands to create the life you want, one decision at a time. Chapter 10. The Power of Habits. How small actions lead to big results. Every day, we're faced with countless small actions. They may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time, they add up to create real change in our lives. The small things we do, what we eat, how we move, how we think, ultimately shape who we are and where we're going. And one of the most powerful ways to transform our lives is to master the power of habits. Habits are the invisible forces that run the show. They're the foundation of everything we do. Whether we realize it or not, the majority of our daily actions are dictated by the habits we've formed over time. We get up, brush our teeth, drink our coffee, check our phones, and go through the motions, often without thinking twice. But those actions, repeated consistently, become the story of our lives. They shape the way we feel, the way we think, and the results we get. If you want to change your life, you need to change your habits. And that starts with understanding how habits work. At their core, habits are simply patterns of behavior that we repeat over and over again. Some habits are productive and positive, like exercising regularly or eating healthy meals. Others are unproductive, like procrastinating or letting negative self-talk take over. The key is not necessarily to eliminate the bad habits overnight, but to replace them with better ones. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to focus on progress. One of the most important things to recognize is that habits are built on a cue routine reward cycle. It starts with a cue, something that triggers the habit. For example, maybe the cue is waking up in the morning. That leads to a routine, like making your bed or having a cup of coffee. And then there's a reward, the satisfaction of a tidy room or the rush of caffeine. Over time, this cycle becomes ingrained in our brains, making it easier to repeat the behavior without thinking much about it. To create a positive habit, you need to first identify the cue that triggers it. You want to make it as obvious as possible. For instance, if you want to start exercising in the morning, place your workout clothes right by your bed so you see them the moment you wake up. You want the cue to be something that reminds you to take action. Next, you need to focus on the routine itself. Start small. Don't overwhelm yourself by trying to change everything at once. If you're starting a new habit, make it easy to begin. Don't tell yourself you're going to work out for an hour if you're just getting started. Tell yourself that you'll do 10 minutes. 10 minutes is easy. It's something you can commit to, and once you start, you'll often find yourself doing more. But even if you stop at 10 minutes, you've made progress. You've created a habit that's now a part of your routine. Finally, the reward. This is where you need to celebrate the small victories. After you've worked out, give yourself some kind of reward. Maybe it's a healthy breakfast. Maybe it's a moment to sit down and enjoy a cup of coffee. The reward reinforces the behavior, making it more likely that you'll repeat it the next time. Over time, as the routine and reward become ingrained, you'll find yourself looking forward to it. The challenge with habits, though, is that they can take time to form. This is where most people get frustrated and give up too soon. But the key to building lasting habits is consistency. It's the small, consistent actions that will lead to big results. You don't have to be perfect, but you have to be persistent. And you have to be patient with yourself. Change doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen if you keep showing up. Another important factor to consider when building new habits is the environment you create. Your surroundings play a huge role in whether or not you're successful at building a new habit. If you want to make exercise a regular part of your life, for example, make sure your workout equipment is easily accessible. If you want to read more, keep a book with you at all times so that when you have a spare moment, you can pick it up. The more you can set yourself up for success by making your desired habits as easy as possible, the more likely you'll stick with them. It's also important to recognize that habits are not just about the action itself, they're about the identity you create. When you start a new habit, you're not just changing your behavior, you're changing who you are. Instead of focusing on the outcome, like I want to lose 10 pounds or I want to run a marathon, focus on who you want to become. You want to be someone who makes healthy choices every day. You want to be someone who values taking care of your body. You want to be someone who is disciplined enough to follow through on your commitments. This shift in identity is what makes habits stick. When your habits align with your sense of self, it's much easier to stay consistent. For example, if you see yourself as a runner, then running becomes a part of who you are, rather than something you have to force yourself to do. The more you build habits that align with the person you want to become, the easier it will be to continue taking action, even on days when you don't feel like it. The beauty of habits is that they compound over time. The small positive actions you take today will lead to bigger changes down the road. You may not see immediate results, but as you keep putting in the work, you'll begin to notice the difference. Your energy levels will improve. You'll feel more confident. You'll become stronger, both physically and mentally. And here's the secret: consistency is more important than intensity. You don't have to go all in every single day. In fact, trying to do too much too soon can actually backfire. Instead, focus on showing up every day, even if it's just for a short period of time. You'll be amazed at how, over time, these small efforts add up to something much bigger. At the same time, don't be too hard on yourself when you slip up. We all do. The key is to not let one bad day derail your progress. If you miss a workout or eat something unhealthy, don't throw in the towel and say, "Well, I blew it." Just get back on track the next day. One mistake doesn't define you. It's the consistency over time that matters. When you look at habits in this way, you realize that you have the power to completely transform your life. The choices you make today, however small they may seem, are laying the foundation for your future. You don't have to wait for a major life event to make a change. You can start right now by taking small, deliberate actions that add up over time. And the best part, you don't have to do it alone. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a step in the right direction. And if you keep moving forward, even when it's hard, you'll get there. Habits are the secret to lasting change. The small, everyday actions that we do consistently are what create the life we want. So take a look at your habits today. Are they taking you closer to the life you want, or are they holding you back? If they're not aligned with the person you want to be, it's time to start shifting them. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Start small, stay consistent, and watch your life transform before your eyes. Chapter 11: Willpower, Harnessing Your Inner Strength. It's not flashy, it's not loud, but when you have it, it can carry you through the toughest days, the hardest challenges, and the most uncertain times. Willpower is that inner strength that keeps you moving forward when everything else wants to hold you back. It's the force that drives you to wake up early, even when your bed feels so warm, to push through a workout when your body is begging you to stop, and to make the tough decisions that put you on the path to success, even if they feel uncomfortable in the moment. It's the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. But here's the truth about willpower: it's not something that's just given to a lucky few. Willpower is a skill. It's something you can cultivate, build, and strengthen over time. It's not something you either have or you don't. And just like any other skill, it gets stronger the more you practice it. Now you might be thinking, if willpower is something you can build, why do I sometimes feel like I don't have enough of it? Why is it so hard to make myself do the things I know I need to do? And I get it. We've all been there. We've all faced days where getting out of bed feels like a battle, where every task seems impossible, and where our willpower feels depleted. It's normal to feel that way. But what you have to realize is that willpower works like a muscle. Just like any muscle in your body, your willpower can get fatigued if you use it too much in one go. The more you exert it without rest, the weaker it becomes. That's why it's so easy to give in to temptation after a long day of resisting. But also, just like a muscle, your willpower can grow stronger with consistent effort, practice, and rest. So how do you build stronger willpower? The first step is to start small. Don't try to conquer everything at once. Trying to make massive changes all at once can be overwhelming, And when you overwhelm yourself, it's easy to fall back into old habits. Instead, pick one small area of your life where you want to improve and focus on that. Maybe it's waking up 15 minutes earlier to get a head start on the day, or maybe it's committing to drink more water instead of reaching for that extra cup of coffee. The key is to start small and keep it simple. Once you master one area, you can build on it, gradually expanding your willpower muscle. Another important aspect of willpower is setting clear, achievable goals. When you don't have a clear sense of direction, it's easy to lose focus and give in to distractions. But when you have a goal, something to work toward, your willpower becomes more focused, more purposeful. It's easier to stay disciplined when you know exactly what you're working toward. And remember, those goals don't have to be big and overwhelming. Set small, bite-sized goals that you can achieve within a short period of time. Once you reach one goal, celebrate it, and then move on to the next. This builds momentum and reinforces your willpower, showing you that you are capable of achieving what you set out to do. One of the most crucial pieces of willpower is the ability to delay gratification. It's easy to fall into the trap of wanting instant results, but the reality is that meaningful, lasting success takes time. Willpower is what allows you to delay that immediate pleasure for a greater, longer-term reward. Think about it like this. Every time you resist a temptation or stay focused on your long-term goal, you are making an investment in your future self. Every time you choose to push through a hard moment, instead of giving in, you are strengthening that muscle, preparing yourself for bigger challenges ahead. But willpower is not just about saying no to what's bad. It's also about saying yes to what's good, even when it's not easy. It's the ability to commit to doing the hard work, the uncomfortable work, the work that doesn't always feel good in the moment, but pays off in the long run. And that's where self-discipline comes in. Self-discipline is the act of doing what you know needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's about taking action, not because it's easy or fun, but because it's what's necessary for your growth and success. Willpower fuels self-discipline. It's the inner fire that drives you to take action, even when you'd rather take the easy route. One thing that will often trip you up when building willpower is the tendency to get caught in the cycle of perfectionism. You don't need to be perfect in order to build your willpower. Perfectionism is the enemy of progress. If you slip up, don't beat yourself up about it. The key is to get back up and keep moving forward. Willpower is about consistency, not perfection. It's about showing up for yourself, even on the days when things don't go according to plan. Every day is a new opportunity to try again, and the more you practice that, the stronger your willpower will become. It's also important to be mindful of your environment. Your environment plays a huge role in your ability to exercise willpower. If you're constantly surrounded by distractions or temptations, it's going to be much harder to stay on track. One of the most effective ways to improve your willpower is to set up your environment to support your goals. If you're trying to eat healthier, don't keep junk food in the house. If you're trying to be more productive, create a workspace that minimizes distractions. The more you set yourself up for success, the easier it will be to make the right choices, even when your willpower is being tested. Rest is another crucial element in building willpower. Just like a muscle needs rest to recover and grow, your willpower needs moments of relaxation to recharge. This doesn't mean you should slack off or avoid working on your goals, but it does mean you need to allow yourself moments of rest and self-care. When you rest and recharge, you're giving yourself the strength you need to continue pushing forward with determination and focus. Ultimately, willpower is about being in control of your choices. It's the ability to act according to your values and long-term goals, rather than being swayed by momentary impulses or feelings. It's about staying focused on what's important, even when distractions are calling your name. Building willpower is a process, but it's one that pays off in spades. With consistent effort, a clear focus on your goals, and the discipline to stay committed, you'll find that your willpower becomes an unstoppable force that propels you toward the life you want to create. And once you realize that you have the power to shape your actions and your future, nothing will seem impossible. Chapter 12. The Power of Consistency. Turning effort into habit. Consistency is the invisible force behind every success. It's the quiet engine that keeps everything running, day in and day out, even when motivation fades. We've all experienced those moments where we start a project, a goal, or a new habit with all the enthusiasm in the world, only to see that excitement dwindle after a few days, weeks, or months. The truth is, motivation is fleeting. It comes in waves, and it doesn't always stick around when you need it most. But consistency stays. It's what keeps you pushing even when the initial fire has dimmed, and it's what separates those who succeed from those who quit before they get there. When you look at people who seem to have it all together, who achieve incredible things, it's easy to think they're somehow different or special. Maybe they have more talent, more luck, or more time. But if you dig deeper, you'll find that the one thing that stands out more than any natural gift is their consistency. Whether it's in their workout routine, their work habits, or their relationships. Consistency is the common thread that runs through every aspect of their lives. They don't rely on motivation alone. They've developed the ability to show up, even when they don't feel like it. Consistency is what turns small actions into massive results over time. Think about the act of brushing your teeth. You don't hesitate to do it every day, because you understand the consequences of neglecting it. It's not glamorous, it's not exciting, but it's essential for your health. Over time, that small daily act compounds into a bigger result. You keep your teeth healthy, and you avoid costly dental procedures down the road. The same principle applies to your goals. The small, consistent actions you take every day add up in ways that you might not immediately see. But in the long run, they lead to results far greater than you could have achieved by doing something extraordinary just once in a while. Building consistency is about turning the ordinary into something extraordinary. It's about recognizing that success doesn't come from big, occasional bursts of effort. It's about showing up every day, even when it feels like nothing is changing. There's a power in showing up, in doing the work, in making progress no matter how small it seems. Day after day, you create the foundation for something bigger, something lasting. One of the biggest challenges to consistency is the belief that progress should always be fast or visible. We live in a world that's obsessed with instant results. With social media and the constant barrage of success stories, it's easy to feel like if you're not seeing immediate progress, you're not doing it right. But that's far from the truth. Real lasting progress takes time, and the results of your consistent efforts may not be obvious at first. You won't always see the immediate fruits of your labor, but that doesn't mean the work isn't valuable. Trust that every effort you put in, even when it seems small or insignificant, is building something solid, something real. Another barrier to consistency is perfectionism. A lot of people fall into the trap of thinking that in order to be consistent, they have to be perfect. They wait for the perfect moment to start, or they abandon their efforts when things don't go exactly according to plan. But that's not the reality. Consistency is about making steady progress, not achieving perfection. It's about being willing to continue, even when things aren't perfect. There's beauty in the messiness of it. It's the willingness to get back up, to keep going, and to adjust when things don't go as expected. The moment you let go of the idea that everything needs to be perfect is the moment you free yourself to move forward with greater ease. One of the most important elements of consistency is accountability. When you commit to something and you know someone else is counting on you, it gives you that extra push to keep going. Whether it's a friend, a family member, or even an online community, having someone who supports your goals and holds you accountable can make all the difference. It's not just about having someone check in on you, it's about having someone who believes in you, who knows that you can do it, even when you doubt yourself. Sometimes, all it takes is knowing that someone else is rooting for you to push through those moments when you feel like giving up. Another key to maintaining consistency is developing systems that support your goals. It's not just about relying on willpower to get you through the tough days. Willpower is finite. It can only get you so far before it runs out. But when you create systems that make it easier to stay consistent, you remove the need for willpower altogether. This might mean setting up a schedule, creating reminders, or organizing your environment so that staying consistent becomes second nature. If you want to make progress in your health, for example, lay out your workout clothes the night before. If you're trying to eat healthier, prep your meals in advance so you don't have to think about it when hunger strikes. These systems don't require a lot of effort, but they make consistency easier to maintain. One of the best ways to build consistency is by starting small and gradually increasing your efforts. If you try to do everything at once, you're going to overwhelm yourself, and that can lead to burnout. Instead, pick one small habit to focus on and stick to it. Once that habit is ingrained and feels automatic, add another one. The idea is to build momentum. The more consistent you are with one thing, the easier it will be to tackle the next thing. Each time you add a new habit to your routine, it becomes a part of your identity. You're no longer just someone trying to be more consistent, you're someone who is consistent, and as you continue to build that consistency, you'll notice that your mindset begins to shift. Instead of seeing challenges as obstacles, you'll start to see them as opportunities to prove to yourself just how much you're capable of. The more you stay consistent, the more you'll realize that consistency isn't just about doing the work, it's about becoming the person who does the work, day in and day out. It becomes part of who you are, and that's when the real transformation happens. The power of consistency isn't just in the actions you take, it's in the mindset that drives those actions. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it. It's about doing the work when it's hard, when you're tired, and when it feels like nothing is happening. The more you practice consistency, the easier it becomes to push through those moments when you'd rather quit. Over time, those small daily actions compound into massive results. You begin to realize that the difference between where you are now and where you want to be isn't some big leap or one-time effort. It's in the small choices you make every day. Consistency is the unsung hero of success. It's not glamorous, it's not flashy, but it's the reason some people achieve their dreams while others fall short. It's the foundation that holds everything together. So if you want to create lasting change in your life, if you want to build something real and meaningful, start with consistency. Make it your daily practice. Build it into your identity. And trust that over time, those small, consistent actions will lead to results far beyond what you ever imagined. Chapter 13. Embracing Change, adapting to life's uncertainty. Life is a constant cycle of change, and while that can feel overwhelming at times, it is also the one thing that can push us forward if we learn how to embrace it. Change isn't something we can control, but how we respond to it can make all the difference. The sooner we accept that change is inevitable, the better we will be at navigating through life's twists and turns. We all face moments when everything feels uncertain, when things don't go the way we expect, or when our plans are interrupted. It's easy to feel like we've lost control, but the reality is, embracing change is often the key to moving forward. It's important to understand that change doesn't always have to be this big dramatic event. In fact, most of the time, it's the small, everyday changes that have the biggest impact. These are the changes that happen within us, in the way we think, react, or adapt to situations. They're the shifts that happen in our mindset when we stop resisting the unknown and start seeing it as an opportunity for growth. The problem is, a lot of people are afraid of change. They're afraid of what they don't know, what they can't control, and what's outside their comfort zone. But what most people fail to realize is that the very thing they fear most is often the thing they need most in order to grow. Think about it. When you're stuck in the same routine, in the same job, or in the same environment, things may feel comfortable, but they also feel stagnant. The same patterns repeat themselves, and nothing changes. Nothing grows. But when you embrace change, when you lean into the unknown, that's when new opportunities start to open up. You start meeting new people, learning new skills, and seeing life from a completely different perspective. You realize that the comfort zone you've been holding onto is nothing more than a cage that keeps you from the life you could be living. Of course, that doesn't mean change is easy. There are going to be times when it's uncomfortable, scary, or painful. There will be moments when you question everything, when you wonder if you made the right choice. But those are the moments that matter most. Those are the moments when you grow. It's in the discomfort, the uncertainty, and the struggle that you find your true strength. Change forces you to adapt, to rethink your approach, and to push yourself beyond your limits. And it's only by pushing past those limits that you'll ever discover what you're truly capable of. The key to embracing change lies in developing a flexible mindset. It's about being willing to accept that things will not always go according to plan, and that's okay. When you develop flexibility, you begin to see challenges as opportunities. Instead of resisting the things that don't go your way, you learn to adapt to them, find new solutions, and grow stronger because of them. It's about being able to roll with the punches, to bend without breaking, and to trust that whatever happens, you'll be okay. This doesn't mean you should be passive or complacent in the face of change. You don't have to wait for things to happen to you. Embracing change means taking proactive steps to shape the direction of your life, even when the future feels uncertain. It means being open to new ideas, new possibilities, and new ways of thinking. Change often comes with a sense of discomfort, but that's what makes it so powerful. The discomfort is a sign that you're growing, that you're moving beyond your old limits, and that you're stepping into a new version of yourself. One of the biggest obstacles to embracing change is the fear of failure. People often resist change because they're afraid they'll make mistakes, or that they won't succeed in whatever they're trying to do. But the reality is, failure is a part of life. It's not something to fear, but something to embrace. Every successful person has failed at some point. What sets them apart is that they didn't let failure stop them. They learned from it, adjusted their approach, and kept moving forward. If you're afraid of failure, you'll never take the risks necessary to grow. But if you embrace failure as a learning experience, it becomes a tool that helps you improve and evolve. It's also important to recognize that change is a process, not an event. A lot of people expect instant results, but real lasting change takes time. You might not see the immediate effects of your efforts, but that doesn't mean they're not happening. The key is to stay committed, even when the results aren't obvious. Trust that the work you're doing today is building the foundation for tomorrow's success. It might feel like you're not making progress, but in reality, every step you take is bringing you closer to where you want to be. One of the best ways to embrace change is to focus on what you can control. It's easy to get overwhelmed by all the things that are outside of your control, especially when life feels unpredictable. But the truth is, there's only so much you can control. What you can control is how you respond. When change happens, you get to choose how you react. You can choose to see it as a setback or an opportunity. You can choose to resist it or embrace it. The power lies in your ability to decide how you'll respond to the things that are beyond your control. The more you focus on the things you can control, the more empowered you'll feel, and the better you'll be at navigating through the changes that life throws at you. When you embrace change, you also embrace growth. Change forces you to step out of your comfort zone and take risks. And with every risk you take, you learn something new about yourself. You discover strengths you didn't know you had, and you develop a deeper understanding of what you want from life. Growth doesn't happen when you stay in the same place. It happens when you push yourself to do something new, to take that leap of faith, and to face the unknown with courage and determination. It's not always easy to embrace change, but it's always worth it. The more you practice adapting to change, the more comfortable you'll become with uncertainty. You'll learn to trust yourself and your ability to navigate through life's ups and downs. Embracing change isn't about knowing exactly what's coming next. It's about being open to whatever comes and trusting that, no matter what, you have the ability to handle it. When you shift your mindset to see change as an opportunity rather than a threat, you'll find that life becomes much more exciting and fulfilling. And the best part, you'll realize that you were always capable of handling whatever came your way. Chapter 14: Setting Boundaries, Protecting Your Mental Space. In life there's a lot to be said about personal space. Not the physical space we live in, but the mental and emotional space we create for ourselves. The boundaries we set define who we are and help protect our well-being. Without them, life can become a constant struggle where you're pulled in every direction and lose sight of your own needs. Setting boundaries isn't just about keeping people at a distance, it's about preserving your peace, protecting your energy, and maintaining the clarity you need to focus on what matters most. When we talk about boundaries, it's easy to think of them as walls, something rigid that keeps people out. But in reality, healthy boundaries are more like a gate. You decide when to open it, when to close it, and who gets to pass through. It's not about shutting others out completely, but about knowing where to draw the line to protect yourself. It's about being clear with others about what you will and will not tolerate, and being firm about your limits. Setting boundaries isn't about being selfish or rude. It's about respecting yourself enough to know when you need to say no, when to step back, and when to take a break. One of the toughest parts about setting boundaries is the fear of disappointing others. We've all been there, caught in the middle of a situation where we feel like we have to say yes, even when we know it's not good for us. We worry about letting someone down, about seeming rude or unhelpful, and we often end up sacrificing our own well-being for the sake of others. But the truth is, when you constantly say yes to everyone else and neglect your own needs, you're doing more harm than good, both to yourself and to the people around you. When you're running on empty, you can't show up as your best self for anyone, including yourself. Setting boundaries also means learning to say no. This is a skill that many of us struggle with because we don't want to disappoint anyone or feel like we're missing out. But the more you practice saying no, the more you realize that it's not the end of the world. In fact, saying no is often the best thing you can do for yourself. It allows you to conserve your energy, focus on what's important, and keep your mental and emotional health intact. When you say yes to everything, you dilute your focus, and you end up giving less of yourself to the things that really matter. Healthy boundaries aren't just about saying no to others, they're also about saying yes to yourself. They're about recognizing your own needs and making space for what brings you peace and fulfillment. Sometimes, this means saying no to the things that drain you, even if they're things you once enjoyed. Other times, it means saying no to the demands of others, even when they're well-meaning. Setting boundaries helps you focus on your own priorities and ensures you're spending your time and energy on things that align with your values and goals. It's also essential to recognize that boundaries are not static. They evolve as you grow and change. What was once acceptable might no longer be, and that's okay. As you become more self-aware, you'll find yourself adjusting your boundaries to better suit your needs. This flexibility is important because it allows you to continue evolving without losing sight of what matters. When your boundaries are in line with your true values, you can maintain a sense of control over your life, even in the midst of chaos. Another important aspect of boundaries is that they teach others how to treat you. When you set clear, firm boundaries, you're showing others that you respect yourself and expect the same respect in return. People will often treat you the way you allow them to, and if you constantly let people walk all over you, that's what they'll do. But when you stand your ground and make it clear that you won't tolerate mistreatment, you create an environment where respect and mutual understanding can thrive. Boundaries teach others how to interact with you in a way that honors your space, your time, and your energy. It's also worth noting that setting boundaries isn't just about the people around you, it's also about setting boundaries with yourself. Many of us have unhealthy habits, patterns of thinking, or behaviors that we need to address. These internal boundaries are just as important as external ones. When you set boundaries with yourself, you're taking control of your actions and ensuring that your choices align with your goals. This means recognizing when you're falling into patterns of procrastination, negative self-talk, or self-sabotage, and making a conscious decision to stop. Setting boundaries with yourself is about knowing when to stop making excuses and start taking responsibility for your actions. The process of setting boundaries is a form of self-care. It's a way to protect your mental, emotional, and physical health by taking the time to prioritize yourself. In a world where people are constantly demanding your attention, it's easy to forget about your own needs. But without boundaries, you risk burning out, feeling overwhelmed, and losing sight of what truly matters. Setting boundaries is about taking the time to recharge, to reflect, and to focus on your own well-being, so that you can show up as the best version of yourself for others. In relationships, boundaries are essential for creating healthy, respectful dynamics. Whether it's with family, friends, or a significant other, clear boundaries help prevent misunderstandings and resentment. When both parties understand each other's limits and expectations, it creates a sense of trust and mutual respect. Healthy boundaries allow for space and freedom within relationships, and they ensure that both people feel valued and heard. One of the biggest challenges with boundaries is enforcing them. It's one thing to set boundaries, but it's another thing to maintain them, especially when someone tests them. The key is consistency. When you set a boundary, you need to stick to it, even when it's uncomfortable. This might mean repeating your limits when they're pushed, or it might mean standing firm in your decision, even if it's met with resistance. The more consistent you are with enforcing your boundaries, the more others will respect them. Setting boundaries can be difficult, especially if you've spent a lot of time ignoring your needs or putting others first. But the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. It's all about developing the confidence to prioritize yourself and understanding that your needs are just as important as anyone else's. Setting boundaries is a powerful tool for creating balance in your life, for protecting your energy, and for ensuring that you can live in alignment with your true values. It's a skill that will serve you well in every area of your life, helping you to create the space you need to thrive. Chapter 15. Gratitude. Shifting your focus to abundance. It's easy to get caught up in what's not going right, focusing on the problems and challenges you face. In those moments, it's common to feel stuck, overwhelmed, and disconnected from the things that truly matter. But when you shift your focus to gratitude, even for the smallest things, everything changes. Gratitude has the power to change your mindset, shift your energy, and open up your life to more abundance, peace, and fulfillment. When you practice gratitude, you start to notice the good in your life, instead of always searching for what's wrong. There's a tendency, especially in today's fast-paced, results-driven world, to focus on what you don't have, what you're lacking, and what you need to fix. But gratitude forces you to take a step back and appreciate what you already have. It's not about ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing the good amidst the struggle and finding peace in the present moment. The first step in practicing gratitude is becoming aware of what you already have. It might seem like a simple concept, but it's easy to overlook the many blessings in our lives when we're focused on what's missing. Take a moment to think about the things you often take for granted, the ability to see the world around you, the people in your life who love and support you, the roof over your head, the food you eat, and the simple pleasures of life. Even the fact that you woke up today is something to be grateful for. When you start to shift your focus to these things, you begin to realize how much abundance already exists in your life. One of the most powerful aspects of gratitude is its ability to reframe your perspective. When life feels hard or overwhelming, gratitude helps you see it through a different lens. Instead of focusing on the difficulties, you can start to focus on the lessons, the growth, and the opportunities that arise from those challenges. When you choose gratitude, you stop seeing problems as roadblocks and start seeing them as stepping stones towards something greater. You begin to understand that every challenge is an opportunity for growth, and every setback is a setup for a comeback. Gratitude also plays a huge role in improving your relationships. When you express gratitude for the people in your life, you create a positive, loving energy that strengthens those bonds. People want to feel appreciated, seen, and valued, and when you take the time to express gratitude for them, it fosters trust, connection, and understanding. Whether it's a simple thank you, a thoughtful gesture, or just taking a moment to acknowledge their presence in your life, gratitude deepens the connection you share with others. And when you're surrounded by positive, loving energy, it makes your life richer and more fulfilling. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life, constantly striving for the next goal, the next achievement, the next thing. But gratitude teaches you to slow down and appreciate the journey. It reminds you that life isn't just about the destination, it's about the moments along the way. When you practice gratitude, you start to notice the beauty in the small things. You notice the way the sun feels on your skin, the sound of birds singing in the morning, the laughter of friends and family, and the simple moments that make life worth living. These small moments often go unnoticed, but they are the building blocks of a happy, fulfilled life. Gratitude also has a profound impact on your mental and physical well-being. Studies have shown that practicing gratitude can reduce stress, improve mood, and even boost your immune system. When you focus on what you're thankful for, you shift your mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance. This shift in perspective has a ripple effect, influencing every area of your life. Instead of feeling depleted, anxious, or overwhelmed, you begin to feel energized, calm, and optimistic. Your body responds to this shift, and you start to feel healthier, more balanced, and more at peace. Another benefit of gratitude is its ability to improve your resilience. Life isn't always easy, and it's easy to become discouraged when things don't go according to plan. But when you practice gratitude, you build a mental and emotional muscle that helps you bounce back from setbacks more easily. Instead of dwelling on what's going wrong, you focus on what's going right, and this shift in focus helps you maintain a positive attitude even in difficult times. Gratitude keeps you grounded, reminding you that there is always something to be thankful for, no matter how challenging life may seem. It's also important to note that gratitude doesn't have to be limited to just the big things in life. While it's easy to be thankful for major milestones like a promotion, a new home, or a significant achievement, it's equally important to express gratitude for the small, everyday moments that make life special. Gratitude is about recognizing the ordinary as extraordinary. It's about being thankful for the things that often go unnoticed, like a good conversation with a friend, a warm cup of coffee in the morning, or the quiet moments of solitude that allow you to recharge. These small moments add up and contribute to your overall sense of fulfillment and happiness. One of the most powerful ways to practice gratitude is through journaling. Writing down what you're grateful for each day helps you focus on the positive and makes it easier to reflect on your blessings. It doesn't have to be complicated, just jot down a few things that made you feel thankful that day. It might be something big, like a promotion at work, or something small, like the smile of a stranger. The act of writing it down solidifies the positive energy and makes it easier to access in the future when you need a reminder of what's good in your life. Gratitude also helps you let go of the need for external validation. In a world where we're constantly seeking approval, likes, and recognition, gratitude allows you to find satisfaction and fulfillment from within. When you practice gratitude, you realize that you don't need anyone else to validate your worth. You can find joy and peace in the simple act of appreciating what you already have. This inner sense of fulfillment is far more powerful than any external source of validation, and it allows you to live with a sense of contentment and ease. There's a common misconception that gratitude is only for times of abundance and success, but the reality is that gratitude is most powerful when things are tough. In the midst of challenges, it's easy to feel like nothing is going your way. But if you can take a moment to focus on what you're still grateful for, it can shift your entire experience. Gratitude doesn't erase the pain or make the difficulties go away, but it helps you navigate them with a sense of perspective and strength. At its core, gratitude is about finding peace in the present moment. It's about being content with what you have right now, instead of constantly seeking something more. When you learn to embrace gratitude, you unlock a deeper sense of fulfillment that doesn't depend on external circumstances. It allows you to live in the moment, to appreciate what's already in your life, and to trust that the future will unfold in its own time. Gratitude has the power to transform your life, bringing you peace, joy, and a sense of abundance that flows from within. It's a practice that can elevate every aspect of your existence, from your relationships to your mental health to your overall well-being. Chapter 16: Mental Toughness, Building the Strength to Endure. Sometimes in life, we find ourselves stuck, going through the motions, and feeling like there's no way out. It's almost like we've hit a wall, and no matter how hard we try, nothing seems to change. We get caught up in routines, habits, and patterns that don't serve us, and it can feel overwhelming, like we're never going to break free. But the truth is, change is always possible. It's not always easy, and it doesn't happen overnight, but with a shift in mindset and some intentional effort, we can transform our lives in ways we never thought possible. The first step toward change is acknowledging where you are. It's important to take a moment to check in with yourself, to look honestly at your life, and identify what's working and what's not. This might be uncomfortable at first, but it's necessary if you want to grow. You can't move forward until you know where you stand. Once you've identified the areas that need improvement, you can start taking small steps to make real changes. But here's the thing, change doesn't always happen in huge leaps. Sometimes, it's the small, consistent actions that make the biggest impact. It's easy to get discouraged when we don't see immediate results, but true change is a process. It's about making one good choice after another, even when it feels like nothing is happening. The key is to stay committed, trust the process, and keep moving forward, no matter how small the steps may seem. One of the most powerful ways to initiate change in your life is by shifting your mindset. Our thoughts have a huge impact on our actions and outcomes. If you constantly tell yourself that you can't change or that you're stuck, you'll continue to stay in that mindset. But if you start believing that change is possible, that you have the power to transform your life, you'll begin to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. Changing your mindset is about replacing limiting beliefs with empowering ones. It's about choosing to believe in your own potential and ability to create the life you want. A key part of changing your mindset is learning to embrace discomfort. We often resist change because it feels unfamiliar, and the unknown can be intimidating. But growth only happens when we step outside of our comfort zones. It's in those uncomfortable moments that we learn the most about ourselves. When we push through fear, doubt, and uncertainty, we build resilience, strength, and confidence. Embracing discomfort is not about seeking out pain or struggle, but about accepting that growth requires effort, and that's okay. In fact, it's essential for personal development. It's also important to let go of the idea that you need to have everything figured out. Life is messy, unpredictable, and sometimes confusing. But that's okay. You don't need to have all the answers to start making changes. In fact, some of the most powerful changes happen when we take imperfect action. The key is to start. You don't need to have a detailed plan or be sure of every step along the way. Just begin and trust that the next step will reveal itself as you go. Building new habits is another crucial aspect of creating lasting change. Our habits shape our lives, and if we want to transform ourselves, we have to change the way we approach daily life. This doesn't mean overhauling everything at once, but rather focusing on one habit at a time. Start small and build from there. Maybe it's waking up a little earlier, exercising regularly, or setting aside time for personal growth. Whatever it is, consistency is key. The more you practice a new habit, the more it becomes ingrained in your routine, and eventually it becomes second nature. One of the most important habits to develop is self-discipline. Self-discipline is what keeps you on track when motivation fades or when distractions arise. It's the ability to stay committed to your goals, even when it's difficult. Developing self-discipline doesn't mean being perfect, but it means showing up consistently, even when you don't feel like it. It's about prioritizing what matters most and saying no to the things that don't align with your goals. Another powerful tool for creating change is surrounding yourself with positive influences. The people you spend time with have a huge impact on your mindset and behavior. If you're surrounded by people who are negative, doubtful, or unsupportive, it will be harder for you to create the changes you want in your life. On the other hand, when you surround yourself with people who are positive, motivated, and focused on growth, you'll be more likely to adopt those same attitudes and behaviors. Seek out people who inspire you, challenge you, and encourage you to be your best self. Their energy will rub off on you, and you'll find it easier to stay focused on your goals. It's also important to practice self-compassion during this process. Change can be difficult, and it's easy to be hard on yourself when things don't go as planned. But beating yourself up will only make the process harder. Instead, treat yourself with kindness and patience. Recognize that setbacks are a natural part of the journey, and don't let them discourage you. Every small step forward is progress, and even if you slip up, it doesn't mean you've failed. It just means you're human, and that's okay. Taking care of your mental and physical health is also essential when making lasting changes in your life. When you feel good physically, it's easier to stay motivated and focused on your goals. Regular exercise, eating well, and getting enough sleep all contribute to a healthier mind and body. When you're feeling good physically, you have more energy, clarity, and resilience to handle life's challenges. Taking care of yourself isn't a luxury, it's a necessity for personal growth and transformation. At the same time, it's important to nurture your emotional health as well. Your emotions are powerful, and learning to manage them can greatly impact your ability to make lasting changes. This doesn't mean suppressing or ignoring your emotions, but rather learning to respond to them in a healthy way. When you're able to process your emotions without being overwhelmed by them, you'll be better equipped to handle the ups and downs that come with creating change. As you begin to make changes in your life, remember that progress is not always linear. There will be days when you feel like you're moving forward, and other days when it feels like you've taken 2 steps back. This is all part of the process. Don't be discouraged by setbacks. Instead, use them as opportunities to learn and grow. Remember that change takes time, and the small steps you take today will lead to big results down the road. Change is also about being adaptable. Life is constantly shifting, and the path to your goals may not always be straightforward. Sometimes you'll encounter unexpected detours, and that's okay. The key is to remain flexible and open to new possibilities. If you hit a roadblock, don't give up. Find another way. Being adaptable means being willing to pivot when necessary, without losing sight of your end goal. In the end, change is about believing in yourself. It's about trusting that you have the strength, resilience, and ability to create the life you want. When you believe in your own potential, you unlock a whole new world of possibilities. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances and start seeing yourself as the creator of your own destiny. Change is possible for everyone, and it starts with a decision. The decision to take control of your life, to shift your mindset, and to take action toward the person you want to become. The power to change is within you, and the journey begins with just one step. Chapter 17. The power of visualization, creating your future. When you think about progress, it's easy to get stuck on the idea that it should happen quickly or all at once. Society often makes it seem like success is instantaneous, like one day you're just going to wake up and everything will be perfect. But the reality is far different. Progress is often slow, and it's built on consistent effort over time. What makes a person truly successful isn't just one breakthrough moment, it's the daily actions, the choices made over and over again that lead to long-lasting change. This process requires patience, perseverance, and a willingness to face challenges head-on, even when it seems like things are moving at a crawl. One of the most important things to realize in this process is that success doesn't come from some magical moment of inspiration. It's not about waiting for the perfect opportunity or the perfect time. Success is about taking responsibility for your own life and taking control of your actions, no matter what happens around you. It's about knowing that you have the power to choose what you do each day, and that those choices, even the smallest ones, can have a huge impact over time. People often look for a quick fix, but real change happens when you stop looking for shortcuts and start committing to the work that needs to be done. This is where real transformation begins. At times, the path to progress can feel unclear. You might feel like you're putting in effort without seeing the results you expect. But that's part of the process. It's easy to think that if you don't see immediate results, your efforts are useless. However, results often take time. In fact, they usually take longer than we expect. But if you continue to show up, even when you're not seeing the fruits of your labor, things will begin to shift. This is why consistency is key. If you stop trying, you stop learning. If you keep pushing through the doubts and setbacks, progress will eventually reveal itself. The truth is that most people give up too soon. When they hit a roadblock or face a challenge, they assume it's a sign to stop. But the people who succeed are the ones who keep going, even when it's difficult. They don't wait for everything to fall into place, they make it fall into place. And the only way to do that is to keep going, step by step, day after day. The small victories you achieve along the way add up, and before you know it, the person you've become is someone you can be proud of. One thing that can make this process even more challenging is the noise around us. We live in a world full of distractions, with so many people trying to tell us how to live our lives. It can be tempting to listen to others' opinions, to let them tell us what success looks like and what it should feel like. But true success comes from within. It's about creating a vision for your life and sticking to it, no matter what anyone else says. Others may have their own definition of success, but that doesn't mean it should be your definition too. Your life, your journey, is yours to create. And that starts with choosing what you want and committing to it, no matter how hard it might seem in the beginning. When you stop trying to measure your progress by other people's standards, you'll start to see how much you've actually accomplished. Instead of constantly looking outside yourself for validation, focus on what you've done for yourself. Celebrate the small wins, even if they seem insignificant at the time. These are the moments that add up to create real transformation. It's not about comparing your journey to someone else's. It's about looking at where you started and recognizing how far you've come. Sometimes, it's easy to get discouraged by the work ahead. The road to success isn't always clear-cut, and there will be times when it feels like you're not getting anywhere. This is when most people quit. But here's the thing, even in those moments when you feel like giving up, keep going. Keep taking the small steps that will eventually lead you to your goal. It's important to remind yourself that you're not expected to know everything, and you're not expected to have all the answers right now. Life is a series of steps, some small and some large, and each one brings you closer to where you want to be. What's essential to remember during this process is that you don't need to do it all alone. Support from others can be a game changer. Surround yourself with people who encourage you, challenge you, and help you stay focused on your goals. Find those who believe in your potential and let their energy fuel your own. No one achieves success in a vacuum. It takes a community of like-minded people who are committed to growth and progress. These are the people who will pick you up when you're down, remind you of your strengths when you forget, and celebrate with you when you reach milestones. Another crucial element of progress is resilience. Life will throw challenges your way. Things won't always go according to plan. But how you respond to those challenges will determine your success. If you get knocked down, it's important to get back up. If something doesn't work out, learn from it and move forward. Resilience isn't about avoiding setbacks. It's about learning to keep going in spite of them. The more resilient you are, the less likely you are to be discouraged by failure. You'll learn from it, adapt, and continue moving forward. As you continue on this journey, it's also important to take care of your mental and physical health. Progress isn't just about working hard, it's about working smart. Taking breaks when needed, getting enough rest, and giving your body the care it deserves are all key to sustaining long-term success. When you neglect your health, it's easy to burn out. But when you prioritize self-care, you set yourself up for continued growth. A healthy mind and body are the foundation upon which success is built. Without them, it's nearly impossible to keep pushing forward. Another part of progress that often gets overlooked is gratitude. It's easy to focus on what you don't have, what you've yet to achieve, or what's not going right. But practicing gratitude allows you to appreciate where you are right now, in this moment. Gratitude shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance. When you're grateful for what you have, you create a mindset of abundance that will attract more of what you want into your life. Take a moment each day to reflect on what you're thankful for, and notice how that simple practice can change your outlook on life. It doesn't matter where you are in your journey, there's always something to be grateful for. Throughout this entire process, it's essential to trust the timing of your life. We often want things to happen on our own timeline, but that's not how it works. Things will unfold in their own time, and sometimes it takes longer than we expect. But that doesn't mean it won't happen. Patience is an important part of progress. It's about trusting that what's meant for you will come when the time is right. Keep showing up, keep doing the work, and trust that everything is falling into place. When you do this, you'll find that progress doesn't have to be forced. It happens naturally, as long as you keep taking the next step, no matter how small it may seem. It's not about reaching a destination, it's about the journey. The person you become along the way is the real reward. The work you put in, the lessons you learn, and the growth you experience are all what matter most. The more you focus on enjoying the process and embracing every step, the more fulfillment you'll find along the way. So stay focused, keep pushing forward, and trust that progress is happening, even when it feels like it's not. With every day, you're getting closer to the person you were always meant to become. Chapter 18. The Importance of Rest. Why recovery fuels progress. Success isn't about the big dramatic moments that people often talk about. It's not about waiting for a sudden breakthrough or for things to magically fall into place. Real success is built on the everyday choices we make and the habits we form over time. These small actions might not seem like much in the moment, but when you look back, they add up to something much greater than you could have imagined. It's about showing up every single day, no matter what, and doing the work even when it feels difficult or when the results aren't immediately visible. The truth is, success is much more about the process than the outcome. It's about the person you become while working toward your goals, not just the goals themselves. The real power in success comes from the way you handle the ordinary moments, the routine actions, and the small decisions you make day after day. Success doesn't happen overnight, and it certainly doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of taking responsibility for your life, deciding what you want, and putting in the consistent work to make it happen. It doesn't matter how many times you fall or how many obstacles get in your way. What matters is whether or not you choose to keep going. So often, we get caught up in the idea that success should come easily or that it should be quick. But the real question is, are you willing to put in the work, even when things don't seem to be moving forward as fast as you'd like? Consistency is everything. The work you put in today doesn't always yield immediate rewards. Sometimes you won't see the benefits of your efforts right away. You might even question whether what you're doing is making a difference, but when you keep pushing forward, even in the absence of instant results, that's when things start to click. Day after day, action after action, your efforts compound and build on each other. It's like planting seeds and waiting for them to grow. You don't see the plant sprouting immediately, but with time it begins to emerge. The same principle applies to your life. Every effort you make, no matter how small, is contributing to the bigger picture. Over time, you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. Patience is essential in this process. You may have heard people talk about delayed gratification, and it's a concept that really holds up. When you put in the work and resist the urge for instant rewards, you allow yourself to grow in ways that would be impossible if you were focused solely on the end result. When you choose to stay patient and trust that your efforts will eventually pay off, you build a deeper level of resilience and discipline within yourself. It's easy to give up when things aren't happening as fast as you'd like, but the people who succeed are the ones who keep going, even when progress feels slow. They understand that it's not about how fast you move, but about moving consistently in the right direction. But even when things are moving slowly, it's important to celebrate the small wins. The progress you make, no matter how tiny, is still progress. Don't wait until you've reached the finish line to celebrate your achievements. The act of celebrating these little victories will help you stay motivated and remind you that the journey itself is just as important as the destination. It's the small wins that make the big moments so meaningful. If you constantly focus on what's ahead, you risk missing the joy that comes from where you are right now. Celebrate every step forward, no matter how small, and keep your eyes on the progress you're making. It's also vital to recognize that success doesn't come without challenges. Life is full of setbacks, disappointments, and obstacles. There will be moments when you question whether you're on the right path or whether it's even worth continuing. These moments are inevitable, and they don't mean you're failing. They simply mean you're human. What matters most is how you respond to these challenges. Do you give up at the first sign of difficulty, or do you push through, knowing that each challenge is an opportunity to grow? If you can shift your perspective on failure, you'll begin to see it as a necessary part of the journey. Failure isn't the end, it's a stepping stone to success. Each time you fail, you gain valuable lessons that you can use to improve and move forward. It's also essential to recognize the importance of self-belief. Many people get discouraged when things don't go according to plan, and they start doubting themselves. But if you don't believe in your ability to succeed, you'll never reach your full potential. Confidence doesn't come from always winning. It comes from knowing that no matter what happens, you have the strength to keep going. It's about having faith in yourself, even when things are tough. You might not have all the answers or know exactly how things will turn out, but as long as you keep moving forward with conviction, you'll be on the right track. Belief in yourself is the foundation of everything you'll achieve. Without it, no amount of hard work or effort will get you where you want to go. Success also requires sacrifice. There are things you'll have to give up along the way, whether it's comfort, time, or other opportunities. But the sacrifices you make are not in vain. They are investments in your future. Every time you choose to put in the work, even when it's difficult, you are investing in yourself. Every decision you make to push forward is one step closer to your goal. It's easy to get distracted by what others are doing or by the things you think you're missing out on, but remember that every sacrifice you make is a step toward creating the life you want. If you want to achieve something great, you have to be willing to pay the price. Another important factor in success is consistency. It's one of those qualities that might seem simple, but it's often the hardest to maintain. Consistency means doing the things you need to do, even when you don't feel like it. It's about showing up every day, putting in the work, and staying focused on your goals. Consistency doesn't mean doing everything perfectly. It just means that you keep going, even when you don't feel motivated or when things are hard. It's the people who are consistent who eventually see the results they want. If you keep working on your goals, even when you're not seeing immediate results, you will eventually start to see progress. It may take time, but the key is to stay consistent and trust that the work you're putting in will eventually pay off. Finally, as you continue on your journey, remember that success is not an isolated event. It's a result of your daily actions, the habits you form, and the choices you make. It's about showing up, doing the work, and believing in your ability to succeed, no matter what. There's no secret formula or shortcut to success. It's about being willing to put in the time, the effort, and the sacrifices required to achieve your goals. And when you keep moving forward, even when things are difficult, that's when you'll see the results. Progress might be slow, but as long as you keep going, you're moving in the right direction. Trust the process and believe in your journey. Success is built one step at a time, and every step counts. Chapter 19. Mindfulness. Living fully in the present moment. The journey toward personal growth and success often feels like an endless climb. Every step feels difficult, every move requires effort, and sometimes it might even seem like you're not making any progress at all. But the reality is that each small step you take matters more than you think. The key to understanding success is recognizing that it's not just about achieving the end goal, it's about the process and the lessons you learn along the way. The small victories that feel insignificant at the time are the things that will build up over time and carry you toward your ultimate destination. One of the most powerful things you can do for yourself is to embrace the process rather than focusing solely on the outcome. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of what success should look like, to get fixated on a specific end goal. However, when you're solely driven by the desire to reach the finish line, you miss out on the importance of the journey itself. The path is where growth happens, not just at the destination. And by the time you get where you think you want to be, you'll often realize that the journey transformed you in ways you never expected. Every struggle, every challenge, every obstacle you face on the way is shaping you into the person you need to be to handle success. One of the biggest hurdles in life is learning how to trust the process especially when it doesn't seem like you're getting anywhere. There will be days when you feel like nothing is moving forward, like everything you're doing is for nothing. On those days, it's crucial to remind yourself that growth isn't always visible. Sometimes, the changes happening inside you are subtle, and they don't always show up as external results right away. The hard work you put in now may not pay off immediately, but it's building the foundation for the person you're becoming. Even on days when progress feels slow, or even non-existent, you are still moving forward. Success isn't just about taking action, it's also about what you do when things aren't going according to plan. In life, things don't always go the way you expect, and you can't control everything. But what you can control is your response to those situations. When things fall apart or when things get hard, you have the power to choose how you react. The best way to handle life's challenges is to stay committed to your goals and trust that the hard work you're doing today will pay off eventually. If you give up the moment things get tough, you'll never experience the growth that comes from pushing through those moments. Success comes not just from the wins but from the resilience to keep going, even when the path seems impossible. Building resilience is one of the most important aspects of success. Resilience isn't about avoiding difficulties, it's about learning to overcome them. The truth is, you will face challenges. Everyone does, but it's the ability to stand firm in the face of adversity that makes the difference between those who achieve their goals and those who give up. Every setback is an opportunity to learn, to get stronger, and to grow. When you face obstacles, don't see them as roadblocks. Instead, see them as stepping stones. Every time you push through a challenge, you build the resilience you need to face even bigger challenges in the future. Life won't always be easy, but with the right mindset, you can face anything that comes your way. One of the most powerful tools in life is consistency. Success isn't about one big moment, it's about the small things you do every day. The daily habits, the small decisions, the choices you make without even thinking about them, they all add up. Most people focus on big, dramatic changes, but true progress is often made in the quiet moments when you're doing the work without any fanfare. The key to staying consistent is to make your daily actions align with your goals. If you want to be successful, you have to do the things that are necessary to get there, day in and day out, whether you feel like it or not. It's the people who keep showing up, who keep doing the work, who eventually see the results. Success doesn't happen overnight, but if you consistently make progress, even if it's small, you will get closer to your goals each day. Another critical aspect of success is the ability to stay patient. Patience is not just about waiting. It's about maintaining the discipline to keep working while you wait for the results to come. We live in a world where everything seems instant. We're used to getting what we want quickly. But real success doesn't work that way. You have to wait for things to happen, and that takes patience. But patience doesn't mean sitting idly by and hoping for the best. It means continuing to work toward your goals, knowing that the results will come in due time. Patience is about trust in the process and trust in yourself. You have to believe that the work you're putting in now is leading you somewhere, even if you can't see the destination clearly yet. It's also important to understand that success is often messy. It's not a straight path from where you are to where you want to be. It's filled with twists, turns, and unexpected detours. You may find that you're not always on the right path, and that's okay. Mistakes are part of the journey. In fact, they are often the most valuable part. When you mess up, when things don't go as planned, you gain insight and knowledge that will help you move forward. The key is to never stop learning from your experiences. Every mistake is an opportunity to grow and improve, and every setback can teach you something you didn't know before. The most successful people are often the ones who have failed the most, but they didn't let those failures stop them. They learned from them and used them as stepping stones towards success. Another factor that plays a significant role in success is mindset. The way you think about your challenges and your goals will largely determine your ability to succeed. If you view obstacles as insurmountable barriers, you'll find it much harder to push through. But if you view them as opportunities for growth, you'll be able to keep going even when things get tough. Your mindset shapes your actions, and your actions shape your results. If you believe you can achieve something, you'll be much more likely to do the work required to make it happen. On the other hand, if you doubt yourself, it will be much harder to find the motivation to keep going. Cultivating a positive, growth-oriented mindset is one of the most important steps you can take toward achieving your goals. Lastly, it's crucial to remember that success is not a solo journey. You don't have to do everything on your own. The people you surround yourself with can have a profound impact on your success. Surrounding yourself with like-minded, supportive people who encourage your growth can help keep you motivated and focused. Building a network of people who share your values and your goals can provide you with valuable insights, advice, and encouragement along the way. Having a support system can also help you stay accountable to your goals and remind you of your purpose when things get tough. It's easy to lose sight of your vision when you're working alone, but when you have a strong network of people around you, it becomes much easier to stay focused and keep moving forward. Success is not about a final destination. It's about the ongoing process of growth, learning, and improvement. It's about the actions you take each day and the mindset you adopt as you move toward your goals. While the road to success might not always be easy, the reward comes not just in reaching the end, but in the person you become along the way. Keep going, keep learning, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself. The journey may be long, but each step you take gets you closer to where you want to be. Chapter 20. Lifelong Growth. The journey never ends. The concept of success is something everyone thinks about at some point in their life, but it often feels like a distant, unattainable goal. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of what success looks like for others, to feel overwhelmed by the image of perfection that society pushes onto us. But the truth is, success doesn't look the same for everyone, and the path to it isn't always as clear-cut as it might seem. Success isn't about achieving some external standard. It's about aligning your actions with your own values and goals, and having the discipline to see them through. It's about setting a course that makes sense for you and following through with it, regardless of how many obstacles you face along the way. There's a misconception that success happens suddenly in one big moment, but that's not how it works. Success is built day by day, step by step, through the choices you make in each moment. It's the commitment to your purpose and the consistency of your actions that matter most. The small things, the things that often go unnoticed, are often the things that make the biggest difference in the long run. Whether it's taking time to learn a new skill, pushing yourself to do a little more than you did yesterday, or staying committed to your goals even when the going gets tough, those small actions add up over time. The process of becoming successful doesn't happen overnight. It's important to understand that achieving something worthwhile takes time. There's no shortcut, no quick fix. Success comes with patience and perseverance. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't happen immediately, but the key is to stay focused on the bigger picture. Each day that you continue moving forward, even if it's just a small step, is progress. And over time, those small steps lead to bigger, more significant achievements. If you're truly committed to success, you have to learn how to push through the hard times. Everyone faces challenges, and at times, the obstacles in front of you may seem insurmountable. There will be moments when you doubt yourself, when you feel like quitting would be easier than continuing. But these are the moments that define you. These are the moments that show whether or not you're willing to put in the work, whether or not you're willing to keep going even when it feels like nothing is happening. The greatest achievements often come from the ability to stay resilient in the face of adversity, to keep going even when the finish line seems so far away. One of the hardest lessons to learn in the pursuit of success is the importance of failure. So many people fear failure that they avoid taking risks, staying in their comfort zones where they feel safe. But the reality is that failure isn't something to be feared. Failure is simply a lesson in disguise. It teaches you what doesn't work and gives you the opportunity to adjust your approach. It's through failure that we learn, grow, and become better versions of ourselves. The most successful people have all faced failure. They didn't let it stop them. Instead, they used it as motivation to push forward, to try again, and to ultimately achieve their goals. Another key to success is learning to focus on what's within your control. In life, there will always be things that are outside of your influence. You can't control the economy, you can't control the weather, and you can't always control other people's actions. What you can control is your response. Success comes from consistently making the best choices within your own sphere of influence. When you focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your discipline, you free yourself from the frustration of trying to change things that are beyond your reach. You can't control everything, but you can control how you respond to whatever life throws at you. Part of this is accepting that things won't always go according to plan. Life doesn't always follow the script we've written for it, and that's okay. Sometimes, the path you're on takes unexpected turns, and you're forced to adapt. Rather than seeing these changes as setbacks, try to embrace them as opportunities. Each time you find yourself faced with an unexpected challenge, take a moment to assess the situation and adjust your plan accordingly. Flexibility is key in success. It's not about being rigid or stubborn, it's about being adaptable enough to make the best out of any situation. Success isn't just about hard work, though. It's also about maintaining the right mindset. Your mindset is the foundation of everything you do. If you approach life with a positive attitude, you'll see opportunities where others see obstacles. If you approach your goals with determination, you'll find a way to make them happen. Your mindset will shape your ability to succeed. This means that every day you need to work on cultivating a mindset that supports your goals and aligns with your values. The more you focus on the positives and stay committed to your purpose, the easier it becomes to overcome the challenges you face. While a positive mindset is crucial, it's also important to surround yourself with people who support and encourage your growth. The people you spend your time with have a profound impact on your mindset and your ability to succeed. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity or people who don't believe in your goals, it will be much harder to stay motivated. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with people who lift you up, who push you to be better, and who share your vision, it becomes easier to stay on track. Choose your circle carefully, surround yourself with those who will encourage you, challenge you, and celebrate your success. Success also requires self-discipline. It's one thing to have goals, but it's another to actually take the steps required to achieve them. Discipline is the ability to stay focused, to keep working even when you don't feel like it, and to stay committed to your purpose despite distractions. It's easy to get sidetracked by the things that feel good in the moment, but those things won't help you reach your goals. Discipline means doing the hard things that move you closer to where you want to be. The more you practice discipline, the easier it becomes to stay on track and make progress every day. In addition to discipline, you also need to develop a strong sense of responsibility. Success is not about waiting for things to happen, it's about taking ownership of your life and your choices. If you want to achieve your goals, you have to take full responsibility for the actions that get you there. This means no excuses, no blaming others, and no waiting for the perfect circumstances. It means taking action, no matter how small, and making the most of every opportunity. The more you take responsibility for your own success, the more control you have over your future. There's no one-size-fits-all formula for success, but the common thread among those who achieve it is a relentless commitment to their goals. Success requires a clear vision, a strong sense of purpose, and a willingness to do whatever it takes to achieve what you want. It's not about luck or chance. It's about hard work, discipline, and a mindset that refuses to quit. And while success might take time, effort, and sacrifice, the rewards are worth it. Every step you take brings you closer to becoming the person you want to be. Success isn't a destination, it's a journey, and every day you continue moving forward, you're getting one step closer to your goals.